Druidie, grâce à ce bruit.
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
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 Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
So we're discussing about the reason for the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami describes, first of all, talks about the external reasons for the Lord's incarnation. Right? The external reason for the Lord's incarnation was to distribute the chanting of the holy name and to spread love of God. So that's the external reason why the Lord appeared. So those ordinary common devotees, people who are devotees of Lord Chaitanya, generally they'll say like that the Lord came to distribute the holy name and to give love of God to people. But there's another reason, confidential reason why the Lord comes. And Krishnadas Kaviraj describes this. Don't touch anything. You're the third person to come here and touch it.
Ну, Maharaj, your voice is low. They put mic too far.
He doesn't understand English, that's why he couldn't do what I say. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj discusses about how Lord Krishna appeared. Lord Krishna appeared. His purpose was to take away the burden of the earth. The burden of the earth was, of course, so many demons, so many demonic kshatriyas. But Krishnadas Kaviraj said, this is not the real work of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Vishnu, he can do that kind of work. He's the one who protects the universe. But with the time of when it came time for the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, somehow it happened that the time to lift the burden of the world mixed with the time for Lord Krishna's incarnation. Right? The two things came along together. Right? To lift the burden of the world, that's described in Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya sadhunam vinaschaya chajuskritam. Right? So that happens Sambhavami Yuge Yuge in every age. But there's a time for Lord Krishna's incarnation. And Lord Krishna's incarnation is only once in a day of Lord Brahma. One time in the day of Brahma, Lord Krishna comes. Other times, Vishnu is coming. All incarnations of the Lord. So Lord Krishna, who appeared at the end of Dwapara Yuga, he does not just come to only destroy the demons, but he comes to show his transcendental pastimes, like in Vrindavan. Vishnu takes care of the universal maintenance, but Lord Krishna, he is coming for a higher purpose, not to just take care of the administration, the management. No, just like Srila Prabhupada. When Srila Prabhupada would come, Prabhupada did not just come only just to take care of the management. You know, Prabhupada has some higher purpose. And the same way, Lord Krishna comes to perform his transcendental pastimes, because his pastimes will attract people to go back to Godhead. So it happened at the end of the last Dwapara Yuga, the time for these two things was the same. The time for the adjustment, the time for the maintenance of the universe, and the time for Lord Krishna's appearance. Therefore, Lord Krishna appeared. At that time, Vishnu merged into the body of Lord Krishna. So all the different portions, all the different expansions of the Lord, they all appear within the body of the Supreme Lord, Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. So Lord Krishna makes his appearance. And when Lord Krishna comes, Vishnu, just like we say, there's Shyam Sundar Krishna, there's also Vasudeva Krishna. Prabhupada writes in the Krishna book, the killing of the demons is done by Vasudeva Krishna. But it's Shyam Sundar Krishna who is enjoying the pastimes with the gopis, dancing with the gopis, and giving pleasure to Mother Yashoda. But all the different incarnations of the Lord, they all meet together and they all come within the body of the Lord. So in this way, the Supreme Godhead, the Swayam Bhagavan, Lord Krishna appears. And at that time, Vishnu is in the body of Lord Krishna. And Krishna kills the demons through Vishnu. So, killing of the demons, that is secondary. That is not very important. But the real reason for the Lord's incarnation is something else. It's mentioned here in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishnadas Kaviraj explains there were two reasons. One was the Lord wanted to taste the essence of the mellows of love. He wanted to taste the essence of the mellows of love of God. And at the same time, he wants to propagate devotional service on the platform of spontaneous attraction. Thus, he is known as supremely jubilant and as the most merciful of all. So, this Raga Bhakti, this is the business the Lord is coming to help people to develop. That kind of thing, Raga Marg, the path of spontaneous attraction. He doesn't just want us to only just to remain at Vaidya Bhakti, Vaidya Sadhana Bhakti. But he wants us to progress to the higher level, Raga Bhakti, devotional service to the Lord in transcendental love. Vedas, it is said that the absolute truth is the reservoir for all kinds of reciprocal exchanges of loving sentiments. He is also causelessly merciful, and he wants to bestow upon us the privilege of raga bhakti. Thus he appeared by his own internal energy. He was not forced to appear by any extraneous force. Right? We may think, oh, the Lord has to come. The Lord's incarnations are all mentioned, so he's obliged to come. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes, it's not exactly like that. And similarly, when Lord Krishna came, it was not exactly like that. So Krishnadas Kaviraj paraphrases Lord Krishna's thinking. He says, Lord Krishna thought, all the universe is filled with the conception of my majesty. But love, weakened by that sense of majesty, does not satisfy me. Right? That kind of worship of the Lord with Aishwarya, according to the rules and regulations, that is not so pleasing to Lord Sri Krishna. And we know that's also mentioned in Damodar ISKCON, when we sing the Damodar prayers, how Lord Krishna describes there that he's more attracted by the pure loving devotion of Mother Yashoda than by all the prayers recited by the Brahmanas. So Krishna consciousness, we give more importance to developing the mood of spontaneous devotion, raga bhakti. Of course, this principle was taken also from Vishnu Swami, from the language comes from Lord Shiva. Lord Chaitanya took two principles from each of the four sampradayas, and from the line coming from Lord Shiva, from the line Vishnu Swami, which is now Pusti Marg, that he took the principle of raga bhakti, spontaneous devotional mood for the Lord. Not just simply rules and regulations and Aishwarya. So that does not satisfy the Lord. It is not so pleasing. Chaitanya Charitamrita continues. Krishna is saying, if one regards me as the Supreme Lord and thinks of himself as a subordinate, I do not become subservient to his love, nor can it control me. Right? If we're thinking Krishna is the master, we're his servants, Krishna is saying that kind of love does not conquer me, doesn't control me. But he likes the mood of devotees like Mother Yashoda, who can conquer, want to control Krishna, tie up Krishna. She's taking Krishna with her stick. And Krishna's afraid. This is the pleasure of Lord Krishna when he sees Mother Yashoda treat him like an ordinary child. That is Yoga Maya. The devotees in Yoga Maya, they don't think of Krishna as God. They think of Krishna as their child, or as their friend, or as their lover. For the gopis, they love Krishna. They don't think he's God. They think they think of him as a cowherd boy. And the cowherd boys, they think of Krishna as their friend. And they fight with him and wrestle with him and steal his food, climb on his back, and do so many things. Even Arjuna, In the Bhagavad Gita, we see when Krishna showed the universal form, Arjuna was shocked and he apologizes to Krishna and said, oh, I've committed many offenses against you. I did not know your position. I was treating you like my ordinary friend, and even I was trying to humiliate you sometimes. And I would mock you that you're just the son of Vasudeva. And Vasudeva is not even a Maharati. He's just some politician. And so now I know it. Now I know your true glory. I see you as the Supreme Lord. And this way Arjuna was apologizing to Lord Krishna. But actually Lord Krishna likes that kind of loving relationship where the devotees see Krishna not as a god, not as somebody great and worshipful, but they see him in a relationship, one of the rasas, as a friend, or as their child, or as their lover. So, Krishnadas Kaviraj continues explaining, he said, Lord Krishna reciprocates with the devotees according to the mood in which they worship him. That is Krishna's natural behavior. From the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, as you surrender, I reward you accordingly. So according to the mood of the devotee, if the devotee worships Krishna like a god, then Krishna doesn't take much interest in that kind of worship, that kind of adoration with so much respect. It is not very pleasing or satisfying to Krishna. But when the devotees, out of pure love, think of Krishna in some relationship, that is more pleasing to Krishna. That kind of love, natural, pure love. Prabhupada's purport writes, Prabhupada said, the Lord, by his inherent nature, reveals himself before his devotee according to their devotional service. The Vrindavan pastimes demonstrate that although generally people worship God with reverence, the Lord is more pleased when a devotee thinks of him as his pet son, personal friend, or very dear fiancé, and renders service unto him with such natural affection. The Lord becomes a subordinate object of love in such transcendental relationships. Such pure love of Godhead is unadulterated by any tinge of superfluous, non-devotional desires, and is not mixed with any sort of fruitive action or empiric philosophical speculation. It is pure and natural love of Godhead, spontaneously aroused in the absolute stage. This devotional service is executed in a favorable atmosphere, free from material affection. So Prabhupada is describing this position of Raga Bhakti, devotees who are performing devotional service in this way of Raga Bhakti. This Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give this kind of loving devotion to everyone, that we will think of Krishna in a more natural, affectionate manner, not only just simply awe and veneration. In the beginning, of course, as neophyte devotees, we will think of Krishna as the Lord, but gradually, by the practice of bhakti, by cultivating the mood of devotion, we will develop more feeling for the Lord in one of the different relationships. You know, sometimes devotees would ask Prabhupada, what is your rasa with Krishna, Prabhupada? And Prabhupada would say, that you don't require. He'd say, in other words, he'd say, you're not really ready for that yet. But as we go on, more and more, we want to cultivate that mood of intimacy with Lord Krishna and think of him in some intimate exchange, either as a friend or as a servant. One very advanced devotee we have, there's one sannyasi, but if you ask him about it, he will say, we're all servants of Krishna. Jivarswarapahai Nitya Krishna Das. Right? That's one rasa which we all have. That's the basic rasa, to be the servant of Krishna. But as our mood of service becomes greater, we can come to the higher level and come to the level, maybe Sakya Das, thinking of Krishna not just only as somebody we serve, but somebody who we have a friendly relationship with. And then that goes on to think of Krishna in Vatsalya Das, to be like a parent of Krishna or a guardian, where you care for someone, just like the mother and father care for their children. So you think of Krishna like that. And of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, they all cultivated the mood of Madhurya Ras, conjugal love in relationship with Krishna. They cultivated that mood of the gopis. Right? We offer our prayers to the Goswamis like that. Then Goswami ISKCON, Srinivasacharya describes that the 6 Goswamis were always absorbed in the mood of the gopis and engaged in the transcendental loving service of Radha and Krishna. What is the mood of the gopis? The mood of the gopis, that is Vipralamba Seva, service in separation. We feel a hankering to be with Krishna. We're wondering, when will Krishna come? This is the mood of the gopis. This is the mood of Mahaprabhu. He's relishing this mood, separation from Krishna. Where are you, Krishna? When will you come? This is the mood of the gopis. As devotees, we are encouraged also to cultivate that mood of feeling separation from Krishna. Prabhupada did not like devotees to talk about being with Krishna. You know, you get people who come, they say, oh, Krishna came to me last night and he told me this about, you know, they talk so many things, nonsense. And you know, they're not very serious in the practice of bhakti. But the devotees who are more advanced, they're more anxious. Where is Krishna? When will he come? We're always thinking, feeling the separation from Krishna. So that kind of mood, that has to be cultivated. This is what Mahaprabhu is showing us by his example. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming to teach all of us how to love God. Lord Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita and told everyone to surrender to him. Give up everything, take shelter of me, surrender to me. So he gave the instruction but he did not demonstrate how to do it. Therefore, he came again at just 500 years ago, 500 and, is it 39 years, 40 years, like that. He came, and at that time he's showing us how to surrender to Krishna, how to love God. So we learn from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Krishna is coming to show us how to be a devotee, how to love Krishna. Although he is Krishna himself, he's coming as a devotee and he's showing us how to love Krishna. So, Prabhupada writes in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, 3 kinds of devotional service are described. 3 kinds of devotion. First of all, there is bhakti, or ordinary devotional service. Then there is Shuddha Bhakti, pure devotional service. And there is also Vida Bhakti, mixed devotional service. So Bhakti, Shuddha Bhakti, and Vida Bhakti. Devotional service when it's mixed, some material desires are there. Come to keeping some material desires. It's, we have some purpose in mind. So, Krishna he's more interested in Shuddha Bhakti. It's more pleasing to him. Material activities, they simply pollute the mood of bhakti. If we want to get something, or if we're thinking even about liberation, we often find devotees are thinking about their own liberation. That is also a material desire. We're just simply thinking about our own liberation. That is the desire for liberation. It is against pure devotion. So, for devotees who are on the spiritual platform, there's no need for any material desires. Prabhupada says, adulterated devotional service does not directly aim for love of the Supreme Lord. Adulterate means you've got some contamination there in the devotion. Contaminated by material desires, desire for fruitive activity, or philosophical speculation. The devotional service should be pure devotional service, should be without these things. Now if we do Vida Bhakti, that is better. Vida Bhakti means following the rules and regulations. There's no material contamination. It's done for the pleasure of Krishna. So there's Vida Bhakti, there's Shuddha Bhakti, and then there's the other kind of devotional service is called Bhakti, just ordinary devotional service. So when devotees are spontaneously devotees, in other words, they come to the platform of raga, then they don't want anything material. They are spontaneously attracted to serve Krishna. Their pure devotion is greater than practicing Vida Bhakti, just following the rules and regulations. Sometimes ecstasy transcends regulated principles. Such ecstasy, however, is on the spiritual platform and cannot be imitated. Regulated principles help devotees come to the stage of love of Godhead. Pure love for Krishna is the perfection of devotion, and pure devotion is identical with spontaneous devotional service. The flawless execution of regulated principles is exhibited in the Vaikuntha planets. By strictly executing these principles, one can be elevated to the Vaikuntha planets, but spontaneous, pure loving devotion is found in Krishna Loka alone. Right? So if we just simply do Vida Bhakti according to the rules and regulations, that will take you to Vaikuntha. But we cannot go to Goloka. If you want to go to Goloka, we have to cultivate the mood of the Brajvasis. You have to have that Raga Bhakti, spontaneous devotion. That mood of spontaneous devotion, that is the highest level of pure love of God. Of course, to go to Vaikuntha is also very nice, right? You get out of the material world, you get a four-armed form, and you can be in one of the Lord's planets there in the spiritual world. But you cannot enjoy like the people in Goloka. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming to give the highest thing. The highest thing is the mellow of love of God. And that is there in the residents of Vrindavan. They love Krishna without any kind of material thought. Here, Krishna Das Kaviraj is quoting a verse in relation to the people of Vrindavan. He said, Krishna is saying to the gopis, "Oh my dear damsels of Braja, your affection for me is your good fortune. It is the only means by which you have obtained my favor." So pure devotional service is seen in the activities of the people of Vrindavan. But during the solar eclipse, Krishna came from Dwarka and he met with all the people, the gopis. They all come from Vrindavan, and they met at Kurukshetra at the place called Samantapanchak. Krishna had sent a message. He told all the gopis, "Come, I'm coming from Dwarka, come and meet me." They'd not seen each other for a long time. Lord Krishna met with the gopis there at Kurukshetra, at this place, Samantapanchak. So the meeting was very painful to the people of Vrindavan, because Lord Krishna had left them to go and live in Dwarka. But when they met, Lord Krishna acknowledged the service of the gopis. And he spoke this word, this verse. He's describing to them, he said that he told the gopis that your affection for me is your good fortune. It is the only means by which you have obtained my favor. So, this meeting between Lord Krishna and the gopis there at Kurukshetra, this was the only time outside Vrindavan, Krishna met the gopis. It was very painful for them because they were seeing Krishna. He was no longer a cowherd boy. Now he was the prince coming from Dwarka. And it was not so attractive to them. And of course, this is how the Jagannath Lila comes about. That seeing Krishna in the royal robes of a prince, the gopis didn't like it. They said, we want to take you back to Vrindavan. You don't have any flute, you don't have any peacock feathers. We will take you back to Vrindavan. Become again a cowherd boy. Another pastime is Krishna's dealing with Mother Yashoda. Mother sometimes binds me as her son. Lord Krishna is saying, Mother binds me. She thinks of me as her son. She nourishes and protects me. She thinks me to be utterly helpless. This is Mother Yashoda's mood in loving Krishna. This kind of rasa is there between Lord Krishna and Mother Yashoda. Vatsalya ras. Just like the mother thinks of her child as being helpless. The same way Mother Yashoda thought of Lord Krishna in that way, as being helpless, as being dependent on him. And then with the cowherd boys, with his friends, Krishna said, my friends climb on my shoulders in pure friendship. And they say to me, what kind of big man are you? You and I are equal. This is the cowherd boys speaking to Krishna. And they're saying like this out of their pure love for Krishna. These cowherd boys, of course, they perform pious activities over many lifetimes. Krita Punya Punja, Srimad Bhagavatam said, they got that position as cowherd boys because they perform pious activities over many, many lifetimes. And now, by the influence of Yoga Maya, they're thinking of Krishna as their friend. And they're talking to Krishna in this way. Oh, what kind of big man are you? You and I are equal. Right? This is out of their pure love. And then the gopis, their mood, the gopis say, if my beloved reproaches me in a sulky mood, that steals my mind from the reverent hymns of the Vedas. The hymns of the Vedas are glorifying the Lord, but they're offered with great respect. There's the mood of respect and opulence. But Krishna takes more pleasure in the mood of the gopis, like Radharani. When she's sulky, you know, women get sulky. You know, they get angry sometimes, they go in moods like that. So sometimes also the gopis, they're sulky, and Krishna is attracted by that mood, how they're trying, how they're upset with him. They don't want to speak to Krishna. Sometimes Radharani will say, oh, I never want to see Krishna again. Tell him, don't let him come. Whenever he comes here, don't let him in here. I don't want to see him. And like that, this kind of mood. There's two kinds of gopis, right? There's the left-wing gopi and the right-wing gopi. Sounds like a football. The left wing and right wing. Anyway, the left-wing gopis, they get very angry. And the right-wing gopis, they're more gentle, soft. You know, they're more, just a different extreme. So, Krishna maintains everyone. He's the Supreme Lord and He's maintaining all living entities. And all living entities are subordinate to Krishna, even when joined with Him in loving affairs. So in the course of loving affairs, sometimes the subordinate devotee, the devotee tries to take the position over Krishna. Although he's actually under Krishna, out of his pure love, he wants to be over Krishna, superior to Krishna. So if somebody engages with Krishna as if Krishna was his son, as if he's the mother or maybe the father, then Krishna, he accepts that kind of mood. And sometimes somebody wants to be the lover or the fiancé. So these exhibitions, this is a sign of the highest love. It's pure love. Out of pure love, the devotee who is subordinate thinks of the Lord and chastise him and take him to be their subordinate. And Krishna enjoys being chastised by them. Krishna takes it very nicely. This is pure love. And this makes the activity, this gives Krishna more pleasure. The worship of the Lord with veneration, in that when we worship the Lord with great respect and show a lot of honor, then there's no natural love. Because the devotee is thinking Krishna to be superior. So the regulated principles are meant for those who have not yet come to the stage of developing natural love of God. Natural love comes about when we are past all the different rules and regulations and we come to the stage of pure love. The devotee sometimes appears to be over the Lord, and sometimes he will even break the regulated principles. But such dealings are more advanced than ordinary dealings. Just like if one Brajpasi lady was cooking for Krishna, and she was cooking for Krishna, and when, usually when we cook, we offer it to Krishna, we don't taste it. First we cook, then we offer it to Krishna, after it's offered to Krishna we taste it. But the Brajpasi lady was cooking for Krishna, and she put the spoon in her to taste it, to see how it is. But that was out of her love for Krishna, her spontaneous love for Krishna. She's cooking and, salt is enough, yeah, no problem. Like that, she was doing like that. So that is a very advanced stage. So sometimes the devotees go against the rules and regulations. A devotee who is free from all kinds of designations, completely attached to Krishna, he is always superior to the devotee who is following the regulated principles. So in the relationship between Krishna and the devotees, sometimes there will be different ways of talking to each other, which is due to their pure love. The devotees worship Krishna, but when they come to the platform of spontaneous love, then they don't show that same kind of mood of veneration. A neophyte devotee who follows all the Vedic instructions, they don't have pure love. Although they may seem to be more exalted than a devotee who is in the mood of spontaneous love. But spontaneous love is much higher than regulated devotional service. Pure love of God is always glorious in all respects, more so than reverential devotional service rendered by a less affectionate devotee. I remember one time Prabhupada came in the temple. It was not here, it was in USA, but there was this one lady on the altar who had been a devotee in the very beginning of the movement. And Prabhupada knew her. She'd done a lot of personal service for Prabhupada, and Prabhupada knew her very well. And she was on the altar doing arti for the deities. And Prabhupada came in the temple room to have darshan of the deities. And he saw the lady on the altar. And he spoke to her. He said, "Oh, Radharani, oh, no, Nandarani." Her name was Nandarani. "No, Nandarani, you are here." And she, "Yes, sure, Prabhupada, I'm here." She was on the altar. Usually we come in the temple room, and we just pay attention to Krishna, bow down to Krishna. But Prabhupada saw the devotee. He didn't worry about, the deities, and she's doing arti, saw the devotee, and he began to speak to her. That's an example. It's spontaneous love. So Lord Krishna said, I bring these pure devotees. When I come to the world, I will descend. He said, it's not even Vaikuntavasis, they won't know. And Krishna said, I will perform such pastimes by which even I am amazed. So Lord Krishna, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is teaching all of us to come to the stage of pure devotional service. Just to go to Vaikuntha, that is not the goal of Mahaprabhu. In Vaikuntha, the Lord accepts service rendered by His eternal devotees, but they do it in a mood of awe and reverence. Lord Krishna presents His most confidential pastimes as He enjoys them in His transcendental realm. And these pastimes are so attractive that they attract even the Lord. Even Krishna is attractive. And He relishes them as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the influence of Yoga Maya, it causes the devotees to think of Krishna in one of the different rasas. Like the gopis think of Krishna as their lover, as their paramour. That is the mood of the gopis. But they don't think about their transgressing the rules and regulations. The gopis, they're so absorbed in the beauty of Krishna and the qualities of Krishna, and they're so absorbed in thinking how to please Krishna that they forget about everything else. In the Vaikuntha planets, all the devotees have the same features as Lord Narayan. But in Goloka, Krishna shows His loving affairs. The devotees of the Lord, they don't know anything about Vaikuntha. They don't know, they simply know Krishna. And they just simply desire the highest kind of love. So the devotees are influenced by Yoga Maya. All of the devotees are Mahatmas. They're fully Krishna conscious. And they're under the Daivi Prakriti. They're under the Yoga Maya. And Yoga Maya creates a situation for the devotees to forget about all the rules and regulations and just to love Krishna. The devotee doesn't like to go against the rules and regulations, but by Yoga Maya, he will do it just to love Krishna, for the pleasure of Krishna. So conditioned souls, they cannot understand this relationship between Krishna and the devotees. But by doing devotional service, first under regulated principles, then we can become advanced and we can begin to appreciate pure love without material desires, and we come under the influence of Yoga Maya. We forget everything about the material circumstances. Just like when the woman may be married and she's having a love affair with another man, she forgets that she's married. She's so absorbed in thinking of this other man. And Krishna is so attracted by the gopis. The gopis are the most beautiful ladies, and Lord Krishna is attracted by them. But the attraction is not mundane. It is above everything mundane. Although they seem to go against moral principles, it is the highest standard of morality. So Yoga Maya covers Krishna and his pastimes. Yoga Maya makes it possible for Krishna and the gopis to sometimes meet and sometimes separate. So these affairs of Krishna cannot be understood by ordinary people. But Krishna comes to perform these pastimes just to attract all of us, that we can go back to Godhead and we can relish the eternal loving relationship with Krishna in the spiritual world. Lord Krishna performs the Rasa Lila to attract all of us to give up our diseased mentality and to go back to Godhead. And Prabhupada said, when a person actually understands Rasa Lila, then he will certainly hate material sense gratification. For the realized soul, Rasa Lila will result in complete abstinence from material sense gratification. This is the power of Krishna's pastimes. Destiny sometimes brings us together and sometimes separates us. Pure attachment will unite us, even at the cost of moral and religious duties. So the gopis, they gave up the religious duties. They went to be with Krishna when Krishna played the flute. The gopis went to the forest of Vrindavan. They were attracted by the sound of the flute. And they put aside their children. They forgot about their husbands. They went off to the forest to be with Krishna. They did not care. Krishna, when they came to Krishna said to them, "Oh, why are you coming here? It's very dangerous. Young girls, what are you doing here in the forest?" forest. So in this way Lord Krishna was testing their love. The people who want to enjoy life in the material world, they're not encouraged to see Krishna on the banks of the Yamuna. If they hear the sound of Krishna's flute, then they will forget everything about material life. So the gopis, they forgot their family life. They went there to be with Krishna. So when pure love is there, the devotee forgets about all his duties. But in the material world, we're not so pure. Only in pure devotional service can we be free from all these kind of duties. We have to awaken our love for Krishna. And then we want to come to the platform of spontaneous devotion. In order to appreciate the meeting with Krishna, there has to first of all be separation. Without the pain of separation, then you cannot appreciate the meeting. So first of all comes the separation. And then the love becomes stronger and stronger, and then comes about the meeting, the union. So that pain of separation is also relishable. It's also another kind of spiritual pleasure. Of course, people are surprised at what kind of pleasure is it. They're crying and broken-hearted, they're feeling the separation. What kind of pleasure is it? That is the highest spiritual pleasure. That pleasure can only be experienced by very advanced devotees who have developed their pure love for Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was experiencing this kind of love. And he wants to give all of this kind of love to all of us, his devotees. He's encouraging all of us to develop that mood of the gopis, to feel the separation from Krishna. And then the more we're feeling, the more we're anxious for Krishna, one day it will happen, we will meet with Krishna. Okay, so are there any questions or comments? Yes, Prabhu.
Very smart, Dhanavada. We heard that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took the two principles, each the Sampadaya. So Mahaprabhu took the principle of continuous love from the Rudra Sampadaya. So, where will you go? What is the destination? Rudra Sampadaya, you go to Krishna or will Mahaprabhu took the principle of spontaneous love from the Rudra Sampradaya.
Well, that was one of the elements which Mahaprabhu brought into his line. Not that we have to go out of our line together. Mahaprabhu brought different elements. He emphasized different elements in his own line of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. He took certain aspects from the other sampradayas and emphasized that in our own line. Like, Sri Sampradaya, service to the Vaishnavas. Mahaprabhu encouraged that. And also, pure devotional service without desire for philosophical speculation or fruitive activities. That's also there. Rupa Goswami got the definition of pure devotion from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then from Madhva, complete defeat of Mayavada, impersonal philosophy. Right? Lord Chaitanya was also very fond of that, to challenge the Mayavada. Mayavada aparada, Mahaprabhu would say. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought these things into the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. The Nibbaka, the mood of the gopis, and the preeminent position of Srimati Radharani, that's also there within our own line. That comes from Nimbaka. Let's say it in Nimbaka Sampradaya.
By practicing the spontaneous love.
Yes. That came from the Pushpi Marg, which is the sheep line from Lord Shiva.
So by the practicing the spontaneous love, we will achieve the Krishna Rupa. But those who are Pushti Marg will achieve the Krishna Rupa, will go Krishna Rupa. They also practicing the spontaneous love in the Pushti Marg.
Yeah, they practice, but they worship Krishna as a young child. We don't worship Krishna as a young child. We worship Krishna as a young man. Right? Navayavana, threefold bending form, playing the flute. If you see Pushti Marg, they're worshiping Krishna as a little baby. Radha Gopal, you know, just like you tell people you worship Radha Gopal, that's not really our line, you see. That's more from the line of their line. They worship Krishna as a little baby, a little child. And they do all kinds of leelas or shit like that. Difference. But we think of Krishna more higher and grown up. The youth. So that's the difference. Okay, Hare Krishna.